had one pastor, he invited me to come be a part of a men's meeting, but he said, we're going to be talking to men about how to be men of God. We're not going to be talking about all that stuff about, husbands and fathers and all of that. We're going to be talking about how to be men of God. And so y'all know me. It's like, well, how you going to be a man of God if we ain't going to talk about being a husband and a father? I'm not interested in any more meetings where we just get together and rehearse scriptures. There's too much crises all around. And I'm not even just talking about what's happening on August the 2nd and what needs to happen with our nation concerning the deficit and all of that. There's just too much crises. There's too much more serious things going on. So I'm not interested anymore in gathering for revival services where we preach to each other. And basically it's like a pep rally. Remember high school pep rallies? And the cheerleaders will come out and the band will play and we'll all feel good, even though our team hasn't won a game all year. So I don't say this because I feel like I'm a better pastor than anybody else, better preacher, better exhorter, none of that. Most of the pastors around here got degrees and, bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees and all that stuff. I don't put it down. I admire it. I applaud their effort for getting those things. But the times are too desperate now. The times are too desperate. No more pep rallies. No more gathering men just to talk to them about how they can become better preachers. If we're going to get together with the men, let's talk about how to help them, stop looking at pornography on the internet. See, that's real to me. Let's talk about teaching them how to be faithful to your wife. How to be a dad to your children. See, because now we're talking about being a man of God. If we're going to have women's meetings, then we don't need all the women to gather so they can impress one another with how well they can talk and how well they can dress. And have all the other sisters checking her out from head to toe, from her hair all the way down to her feet. And she says all the right things. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. She says all the right things and does all the right things, and she has the charisma. And there's a bunch of women sitting there admiring her and wanting to be like her. But nobody ever gets to the truth of the matter, and that is the woman standing before them really can't stand her husband. And she's doing this because she really gets tired of dealing with her own kids. So you use the minister to replace what you really should be doing. See, that's the times are too critical for us to continue in this madness. Where people keep folks out in choir rehearsals till midnight because they want the choir to sound great and they want the dancers to be perfect, and the musicians rehearse for hours because they want to be really tight and impress one another. Anybody agree with me today? It's time out for all of that. It's time out for all of that. I know I've reached a place, no more conferences. No more conferences. No more seminars. No more workshops. No more of the stuff. No more entertaining one another. I'm not interested in creating a Christian version of American Idol. Anybody know what I'm talking about today? You can talk back at me today. We got the preacher's version of American Idol. We just don't sing, but we get up and preach, and we wait for the votes to come in to decide who's the best preacher in the land. And once that guy or that woman gets to be number one and she knows she's got booking, he or she know they've got bookings and be able to preach all over America in different cities. So we all scramble to get on TBN or whatever other television network, preaching network that we can get on. Because if I could just get somebody to see my face and to know about my ministry, then we'll finally get to do this. And all the while, they're burning out and tearing up the people in their churches. Because you guys have told us, and we've just seen it over and over again, while people are building ministries on the backs of people who are losing their families, telling the people that they're not committed if they're not there at the church. We were not called to commitment to the church. We were called to commitment to Christ. Do you hear me today? I didn't know I'd end up saying all this today, but I just feel it in my spirit. We're called to a commitment to Christ, not a commitment to church and churchianity. We're called to commit to Christ. Anybody with me today? We're called to commit to Christ. Yes, Lord God. So I just want to say it to you just to encourage you. I have to even say it to anybody that's watching us online. Maybe some pastors, friends, brothers, sisters, you didn't understand why Pastor Chris kept saying no. It's because no more pep rallies. I don't know what's happening in your church, but I know that in Urban Life Church, we've got serious family matters to deal with. And for the folks that attend Urban Life Church, we don't need no more revivals and services and workshops and seminars. We want a genuine move of God in our families, in our home, in my life. And we don't teach people to focus that all on what happens here on Sundays when we all gather together. That's just a starting point. That's just a sparking point. That's just a place to confirm what God's already been doing and what he's already been speaking in people's lives.